It's not an illusion, it's back. On today's episode of Watch Jericho, we bring back my 2003 Saab 9.5 Aero. The fun one. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Jericho, and this is my 2003 Saab 9.5 Aero that we did a ton of work to like a year ago, maybe longer. It's been a long time since we did a bunch of work to this thing, and I do want to see, let's see, manufacture date. Well, just kidding. I'm pretty sure this is an 03. That should be pretty much the last year of the true Saab 9.5 Aero. This is not one of the GMified ones with an Ecotech in it. It still has a Saab engine. And on the back is a stack of parts that was in my house, and these were all waiting to go on it. We've got a lot of projects to do on this thing. Honestly, like an insane amount of work. There's so many parts sitting here for this thing that I have completely forgotten what we've done and what we need to do. I do know one of the things that we did last time, obviously the windshield's new. We did so much work to this. We had it polished, then it sat outside for about 2 years, and the ceramic coating has held up, but the clear underneath is actually failing. It's starting to turn milky, and there's no saving that. It needs painted. We're not gonna paint it, I guarantee you that, but it needs painted. But we put a brand new windshield in it, and that's super nice. I still haven't put the wipers back on it. That needs to happen because it's not exactly fun to drive in the rain, even if the ceramic coating does make it easy. We did the Craftworks blow-off valve. We put a new, the main coil pack. It's an integrated piece with all the coils in it. We replaced that. Just tons and tons and tons of work. And it was running really well and driving really well. I was having a good time driving this thing around. And then we ended up parking it because all of the other jobs that were left on this car were huge jobs and they required a lift. So this car is one of the main reasons that we have this building, because I was always borrowing lifts from my friends, and it was a huge inconvenience to them to have to go to their house and pull one of their cars off just so I could take it up for who knows how long to do the subframe bushings and all that stuff. It could take multiple days to get a lot of the jobs done on this car. It's a lot of big jobs. This car kind of needed everything, and you know what? It kind of still needs everything, and I'm not sure how far we're gonna go saving it, but it does run and drive now, and I do get to enjoy driving it from time to time. So the last time I was driving this thing regularly, we kept getting a check engine light after we put in the new diverter valve. It's because it had too light of a spring on the diverter valve, and it does need change to the other one that I do have. So that's on the to-do list, and whenever it's running, we'll load this thing up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in gear. It shakes pretty violent. Like, sometimes the steering wheel will just completely be shaking up and down. It's doing it a little bit right now. And you can hear my voice vibrating as well. The whole car is shaking. And we do think that's because like the engine mount bushings or the subframe bushings. That's a little bit of a mess. It definitely has a slow coolant leak somewhere because the fill coolant fluid light is on, and it shouldn't be. And I think it also has a slow weep from the valve cover. Let's go ahead and open the hood, take a look at that. It's been a long time, but I still remember most of the issues this car has. I don't remember if we replaced these hood struts, but they're not doing too well, even though they look brand new. All the oil's blowing out of that one over there. Anyway, this ignition coil is brand new. There's a bunch of oil on top of that exhaust manifold right there, clearly coming down from the valve cover. And I need to swap out that spring in that diverter valve there. I'm not sure what else needs done. We've got a newer battery in there, Superstar Premium. I think the next thing to do to figure this out is to just pull out all the parts we have for this and lay them out on the floor and come up with a game plan to install them all. And hopefully, after installing all the parts we have, which is a ton, we should have this car all sorted out. I do think I used to have that chrome piece that went around there and it just disappeared. I think it's gone forever. So we will see if I have that piece hanging out in the trunk. If you'll remember, we of course fixed the trunk. The trunk wouldn't open because it's electronic. The fuel door wouldn't open because it's electronic. Basically all these things are solenoid release, so I would have to open the trunk from the back seat and go through there to put gas in it. That's all been sorted out. A bunch of pixels are dead on the information center, the SID. So this is the SID ribbon that you're supposed to solder in, and I have the soldering set up for these strips right there, and we have LEDs right here to replace all the interior lights, and I don't even know what we have in this box from Saab parts. There's a fog light missing from the front end. That's right there. I just ordered that. So let's throw all this down on the floor. These badges are new from Saab parts, which is why they look amazing. They're not faded at all. The Aero badge is new. Let's see if this works. I think it does. Hey! Back here we have what's literally an insane amount of parts. I've never changed the oil in it, so we have the oil sitting in here. It's been in here for 2 years, honestly. I think I bought that to use on the wipers, and we haven't done that yet. All the MREs that were always in here, they're still in here. These obviously are the under dash panels. They're lighted. So this is all from Saab parts. This was this came with the car. This is the diverter valve. You need to change those springs. There's a new jalousie here. We've got a couple of oil filters for it. This needs done really bad. Obviously it makes the car look complete. That goes on the shifter. Oil filter, subframe bushings. Hopefully that fixes all that vibration in this thing. Front crank seal kit, only do if leaking around front. Crank pulley, a bunch of parts were in there for some project. Of course we have the factory ice scraper. We've talked about this. Ice scraper and your parking timer, all that good stuff. Let's see. Gasket maker, check valve, another oil filter, tons of parts, crush washers and oil pan crossover pipe. All these are if you need them. The windows are all ruined for the most part, so there's the window rollers and a washer fluid cap. I think this has window regulators in it. I'm actually not sure, but I'm sure that needs to go in the car. A bunch of, oh, my wire strippers. Yeah, that's awesome. These are expensive. They're green lease, 30 bucks. Anyway, a ton of parts, and I don't know how long this is gonna take. If I had to guess based on what's sitting here, 4 or 5 days of work to get this thing all back together, and maybe we'll have the tint guy come and at least do the front window. I do have to take all the windows apart, basically. The passenger window doesn't work. The driver window doesn't work very well. These things are kind of notorious for that. And this ugly tint on there doesn't help one bit. Open the back door. These back seats look amazing. This is the best part of the car. This hasn't been rotted out by the sun. Do these pop up? Oh yeah, you pull that tab and the latch system's underneath there. How cool, Saab. Cup holders. I don't know how much of this has been replaced, but a lot of it. It looks like those are rear heated seats. I didn't even know it had that. That's incredible. 9.5s are sweet. All right, moving on to the lift. You can hear the vibration in this thing. It is severe. There's it loaded back up in reverse. As soon as you give it any RPM at all, it cleans right up though, and it rides and drives wonderfully. Super nice once it gets out on the road. And you know, heated seats, the airplane light thing, rear heated seats that I just noticed. It really has almost everything you could want in a car. Unfortunately, it just needs a little bit of help. So we've got the 9.5 set up on the lift here. This will be my first time getting underneath this thing. So let's see what it looks like. I have a feeling it's probably pretty wet based on the leaks we're seeing. Ah, those are the sway bar end links that we found in the back. They go all the way up on the shock body and all the way down to this sway bar that runs all the way back there, kind of at the very top of the subframe. So it is pretty wet under here as we expected. And it does look like I've never changed the oil because I would have never put that filter on there. Only this side right over here has some oil on it. I can't tell exactly where it's coming from either. It doesn't look like it's the front crank seal. If you look right there, that actually looks pretty dry. It looks like it's coming down the front of the engine, probably from the valve cover like we saw earlier. The sway bar end links don't look too bad on the driver's side, but I do think on the passenger side they need replaced, so obviously we're gonna do them both. That'll solve some problems. And then I think these are the subframe bushings I need to change. There's one there, one here, and then when you look up inside, there's like a tail off the subframe way up in there by that damper. And that's where the next one goes. And then the next one goes right there. Of course, there's 6 total, 3 on each side, and it might take a little bit of work to get those swapped out, but we're definitely gonna do that. Hopefully that fixes our vibration at idle, because I've already replaced a bunch of the engine mounts. I'm just kind of going through here and finding all the things I replaced. That engine mount is clearly brand new. I must have just done that. The fuel filter, clearly brand new, and I think I remember making a giant fuel mess in Josh's shop with that. So there's been just a ton of work on this car, but so much more to go. And we're going to just start tackling this thing and knocking out another part of it basically every day. Okay, today we're gonna chase down this passenger side blend door because it's definitely, there's no AC in the summer. It's always just lukewarm, no heat in the winter. So we have here, of course, that right-hand blend door repair kit from Saab Parts. I'll try to throw a link in the description below. And it is a machined arm and a bushing to replace the factory parts inside here. So the screws are already out of the kind of kick panel under the dash over here. So we're gonna take that down, which I think just pulls forward. Maybe this has to come out first. Let's see. So the screws weren't actually in this cover for me, just the Christmas tree. And there we go, that made that easy. That comes out. The light's not even hooked up. All right, so now there should be a motor. Oh man, it's so warm in here. The heater core is on fire, but I have no heat. There should be a servo with an R on it. There's one right here. I think this is a spare. I don't know if this is the one that actually belongs in there. So that's what you're looking for. You're gonna remove this, and it looks like there's just 2 screws. So I'm gonna go on a hunt and see if I can find another motor inside there. There's only 1 screw holding the glove box in here, and it's actually loose. I think this has all been apart, and I don't think I did it, which is kind of odd. There's that last screw, and that should do exactly that. And the vent's not even hooked up. Nothing's hooked up here. So there's a vent tube to cool this thing, goes right there. And there's also a light in it, I think. We should have a plug somewhere, but we'll just set the glove box aside. There are 6 screws that need to come out of the glove box normally. So now you're up under the dash looking at this with me. That white gray connector that's pointing down there is the connector to the motor, and that yellow, whenever it gets the color right there. Yeah, so the yellow pivot inside the plastic is what we're trying to pull out, and that should pull straight out. So I'm gonna take some needle nose, try to get a bite on it, and then pull it out. So these are the pieces we're replacing with those new machined aluminum pieces. Basically, all of these little blend door things twist off. They completely twist off, and they cause everything to break inside there. So I've got them swapped out now, and I finally went and found all the screws for the motors that had already been out of the car. I think I found all the screws, and now we're gonna start reassembling all of these motors. All 3 blend door motors have been out of this thing. So let's see how far we get putting all this back together. If you look up inside there now, and I move this blend door down here, it's not this one, there's 2 rods here. I know it's hard to see, but look up in the top, and you can see this blend door arm actually moving to both of its limits. So much better. The upper motor is going back in now. You just kind of have to twist it until it gets lined up with its slot, and it should just drop right in. This one has locating pins as well. The bottom one, I don't think it does. Although the bottom one's like a triangle, top one's a square, and those locating pins make life easy. Once you get these screws started, you can tighten it on down with your ratchet there. I don't even remember well, I don't think I took this apart, but what I do know is one wire goes to one motor and one goes to the other, and they use the exact same connector. So hopefully we get this right on the first try. There is a piece of tape wrapped around each one, but the tape doesn't seem to correspond to the color on the motor. So that should be just about tight. The connector with the blue tape on it is the one that goes to the upper stepper motor there on the passenger side. So if you're looking for that, there's your answer. Red one is the lower one, blue one is the upper. Both blend door motors have been remounted, and now I can finally plug in the lower one there, the one with the R on it. And this here is the temp sensor. It's basically a needle, so if you take it out, be careful while you're working in there, it will stab you. Ask me how I know. I'm pretty sure you don't have to ask me. Actually, putting that back in is a little tricky too. You gotta line up the needle with a tiny little hole, and then it snaps right back into place there. So now we can put the glove box back and put everything else back together, finally. And we did find all of the screws. The black screws are for the little kick panel and for the glove box. So we're gonna get this all put back together in just a moment here. So give me a little bit of time. We should have these blend doors all sorted out and get us moving back on to the drivetrain and that vibration with the engine. Now I've got the passenger side all buttoned back up, and before you use it, you're supposed to recalibrate it. I think turn the climate off and then hold ACC and off at the same time while it runs through its calibration procedure, and it'll tell you if there's any errors in the climate system. So I think we knocked out a big piece today, and next we just keep moving on through this thing until I get it sorted out. It's getting closer by the minute. So I hope you guys are excited that we are back on the Saab. Leave a comment in the description below if you are. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjaguar.com where you can get cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time when my hands are less covered in that lithium grease. All of that climate stuff is greased, and you know you can't work on anything after your hands get all slimy.